Disney's recent acquisition of Fox comes with an exciting consequence. The Marvel characters formerly limited to appearances in the X-Men and Fantastic Four movies are now fair game for use in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This leaves Marvel Studios with an enviable problem. Which of those heroes, villains, mutants, aliens, and cosmic entities do they introduce to their enormously popular comic book movie franchise first? Well, based on character popularity, ease of integration, and a variety of other logical factors, we think we can make an educated guess or two. So in this video, we'll be taking a look at the former Fox characters who we believe will appear first in the MCU.
You might want to look away for this.
Let's start with mutants, and we believe there are 3 potential mutant characters who could first appear in the MCU: Professor X, Magneto, and Apocalypse. As the leader and founder of the X-Men, Professor X is undoubtedly the ideal Fox character to introduce first in the MCU.
Charles, we need you.
But not just because of his character's prominent role. You see, Charles Xavier's power gives Marvel Studios the ideal way of seamlessly integrating the previously unseen script of mutants into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If mutants were to just suddenly appear in the franchise with no explanation after 3 phases of movies, fans would have questions. Why hadn't they been so much as mentioned in the previous decade? Well, what if, years ago in the MCU, humanity had turned against mutants, prompting Professor X to wipe all memories of mutant existence from the minds of everyone in the world using Cerebro? It would have allowed mutants to live in peace for the entire time since the MCU was born, but still give them a history in the franchise. In the event of a threat emerging that Professor X believed the X-Men could help with, he could then break his telepathic influence on the world and all memories of mutants would come flooding back. It's a really cool idea, and it's not a concept Marvel are unfamiliar with. When the Sentry was introduced to the comics in the year 2000, he was introduced to someone who had always been there, but whose existence had been wiped from the minds of the world using his own telepathic might. We could see Professor X in a post-credit scene saying it was time to come out of hiding, and fans would go absolutely wild. Alternatively, the first Fox character to appear in the MCU could actually be Professor X's oldest friend and deadliest enemy, Magneto.
I said back off!
Arguably, Magneto makes the most sense because the perfect platform for his introduction already exists in the franchise: his children. Wanda and Pietro Maximoff, or Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver if you prefer, were introduced to the MCU in the mid-credit scene of 2014's Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And while Quicksilver was killed off a year later in Avengers Age of Ultron, Scarlet Witch remains an active member of the Avengers. Not only that, but she's set to get her own Disney Plus series alongside Vision, and it's hard to believe she won't get to meet her father now that Disney owns Fox. Should he appear in a post-credit scene, a simple "Hello, Wanda," while he's wearing his iconic helmet would be enough to send fans into a stupor. It would be a seamless and uncomplicated introduction for mutants in the franchise. Just imagine what Magneto could do with the various metal weapons, gadgets, and characters in the MCU. And now, we come to Apocalypse. Apocalypse is, of course, widely known as the first mutant in the Marvel Universe. He was born thousands of years ago in Jordan, but lay dormant for thousands of years, as depicted in 2016's X-Men Apocalypse movie, when he was portrayed by Oscar Isaac. Should he awaken from his long slumber in the MCU? And given that one of the many superpowers he possesses is telepathy, none of the current crops of heroes in the franchise would be equipped to deal with him. Therefore, he could be an ideal reason for Professor X to make himself and the X-Men known to the world again. All it would take is a post-credit scene in somewhere like Egypt, where a blue-faced character's eyes open wide inside a tomb. Fans would instantly know what mutants were coming to the MCU, and it would undoubtedly send them wild. It would be more than a welcome idea to see a live-action depiction of the character that didn't disappoint us beyond belief. When we think of Fox's Marvel characters, our go-to thought process tends to send our minds racing towards X-Men and mutant characters. But there's a whole other world of former Fox characters that are now available for use in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, namely the Fantastic Four and their supporting cast. Given how much fans have wanted the Fantastic Four in the MCU, they seem like prime candidates to be the first Fox characters to appear in the franchise. Marvel's first family have already been depicted in live action in 3 different franchises. First in a low-budget, unreleased 1994 movie, then in 2 cheesy Tim Story-directed movies in 2005 and 2007 respectively, and most recently in Josh Trank's hideous 2015 offering. What all of these movies had in common is that they were pretty terrible.
Because we're a team now, and there's 4 of us.
And such an iconic team of comic book characters deserves so much better. Marvel Studios could certainly deliver that. Rather excitingly, the team were hinted at in the final movie of Phase 3, Spider-Man Far From Home. Towards the end of the movie, the camera lingered on the Avengers Tower, which was being refurbished, and there was a very prominently placed sign that read, "We can't wait to show you what comes next," separated by 1, 2, 3, followed by a question mark. Given that 4 obviously follows 3, that's quite blatantly alluding to the Fantastic Four. And why would Marvel Studios do that unless the team was coming to the MCU? If they weren't on their way to the franchise, all the studio would be doing is succeeding in annoying their loyal fan base.
Come on!
And that would be a very stupid idea in anyone's book. The Avengers Tower is just there, waiting for new owners, and the Fantastic Four would be perfect occupants for it. It wouldn't even need a post-credit scene to confirm them. Just imagine seeing a huge 4 on the building in the background of one of the first Phase 4 offerings. Movie theaters around the world would erupt with excitement. The iconic team really would be the ideal way to signal the dawn of a new era of the MCU. Of course, the Fantastic Four come with a huge variety of supporting characters, one of which is one of the most iconic villains in the history of popular culture, Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is another character fans have wanted to see in the MCU for some time, not just because he's so popular, but also because he'd literally be a perfect opponent for the franchise's existing heroes. He offers a little bit of everything: a genius intellect, a physical threat in the form of a powered armor that gives him super strength, durability, and high-tech weaponry, expertise in science and technology, and expertise in magic. His ability to plan intricate, nefarious schemes that result in him becoming all-powerful are legendary amongst Marvel fans, and it would be really cool to see a faithful depiction of the character in live action. Both Julian McMahon and Toby Kebbell have frankly butchered Doctor Doom in movie franchises, not necessarily through any fault of their own, and it's about time such a legendary character was adapted to the big screen correctly. Marvel Studios have started to get their villains right after receiving early criticism about one-dimensional bad guys in the MCU, so they'd be expected to give us an awesome Doctor Doom. Imagine, if you will, a post-credit scene opening outside a castle, and then the word Latveria appears across the bottom of the screen. We could then be shown a man working in a laboratory before the screen pans to Doom's iconic mask. What a way that would be to let everyone know the Fox characters were on their way to the MCU. And another who we believe could be the first Fox character to appear in the MCU is Kang the Conqueror. Although he lacks the mystical know-how of Doctor Doom, Kang is otherwise very similar. He has high-tech armor that has a number of uses that are reminiscent of Doom's. In fact, his journey to becoming a villain started in the 31st century, where Kang hails from, when he became fascinated with history and discovered the time travel technology created by Doom himself, who may actually be one of Kang's ancestors. Given that time travel is a concept that has just become prominent in the MCU, a time-traveling villain like Kang would certainly fit the franchise thematically. It could easily be the case that his introduction comes in a scene in which it's revealed that the Avengers' use of time travel disrupted him or displeased him in some way, so he makes it his mission to make their lives a misery going forward in the franchise. All that being said, while Doctor Doom and Kang the Conqueror are very cool characters, if Marvel Studios are looking to truly up the ante after Thanos in the MCU, they might look to a more powerful new big bad for the franchise going forward. Galactus is the cosmic entity known as the Devourer of Worlds, for the simple reason that he is so enormous he needs to consume entire planets for sustenance. He's so iconic and instantly recognizable that all viewers would need to see was his shadow being cast on a random distant planet in a post-credit scene. And that would be an incredible way to let everyone know Fox's characters were on their way to the MCU. We have, of course, already seen a pretty appalling version of the character depicted in live action. In 2007's Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Galactus was portrayed as a sort of giant cosmic cloud who engulfed planets in order to consume them. It was hugely disappointing. So seeing him in his iconic purple armor with that instantly recognizable helmet would give fans around the world a huge buzz. And speaking of Rise of the Silver Surfer, the titular Herald of Galactus could also be the first Fox character to appear in the MCU. When Galactus targets a planet for consumption, he sends his heralds there first to prepare them for consumption, and the Silver Surfer appearing just outside the Earth's orbit in a post-credit scene would be a great way to introduce the coming of Galactus and other characters previously owned by Fox. Of course, given that the Silver Surfer has already appeared on film, Marvel Studios might be tempted to use another Herald of Galactus, such as Firelord, Terrax, Redshift, or Airwalker, and it would have the same impact on keen-eyed Marvel fans. Finally, we come to the Fox character we believe is the most likely candidate to be the first to make the jump to the MCU. Can you guess who it is? Well, it's none other than the merc with the mouth, Deadpool. The thing about Deadpool is, he's just so wacky and zany that his sudden appearance in the MCU wouldn't even require an explanation. Yes, even if Ryan Reynolds was still playing the same version of the character who's already appeared in Fox's X-Men movie universe, the guy can break the fourth wall. He can see and talk to the audience, so why shouldn't he also be able to skip between universes without it making any sense? It wouldn't even matter if he appeared on a different planet, such as Vormir or Titan. Fans would just accept the fact Deadpool was in the MCU. Just imagine a post-credit scene in which Deadpool was just chilling, possibly wearing Ferris Bueller's dressing gown, and then he said, "We're here now, deal with it." What an iconic way to tell the world the Fox characters are now in the MCU. Of course, given how popular he is, there's always a chance Wolverine could be the first Fox character to appear in the MCU. That should never be ruled out. However, given his long history, it might be quite hard to explain his appearance if he is the first one. He's a character we feel would need a platform to spring in from, and a reason should already be in place regarding why we haven't already seen him so far in the franchise. It wouldn't really work to just have him suddenly appear. He's the kind of character who, in that scenario, would make fans say, where the heck has he been all this time? So yeah, those are the Fox characters that we believe could be the first to appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because they're the ones that, for a variety of reasons, seem to make the most sense.
Class dismissed.
And that's the end of the video. Which Fox characters do you think will appear in the MCU first? Have we predicted correctly? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to ScreenRant for more great videos like this one. We'll see you guys next time.